Hello and welcome to another episode on the High Level Experience, guys. I'm super excited to introduce you to our next guest on this episode. Our guest today is a visionary leader revolutionizing the talent hiring industry. As the Chief Executive Officer at Octotasker HR, he has placed over 2,000 top-tier talents with more than 600 businesses across America, also Australia, including industry giants like White Label Suite and Extending. With passion for exploring new cultures and an unconventional approach to business, exemplified by his favorite quote, "Fuck trends, take the road less traveled, zig when everybody zags," he brings a unique perspective to talent acquisition and business growth. Please welcome to the show, Daniel Jones.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Daniel, great to have you here, mate. I know that traveling and learning new cultures are among your interests. How has these experiences influenced your business practices and your approach to talent acquisition?
Well, I started my journey 8 years ago, leaving Miami, moving all the way to Southeastern Europe in a small town, Struga, that's located on the border of Albania in North Macedonia. When I first moved over here, it was to open up my very own call center where I was selling my own products. To be honest with you, I didn't really even have a lot of faith that this would work. I had a partner that was from here. I moved here, came here with $200 in my pocket, started with two employees to four employees to several call centers to the first very BPO, opening up the very first BPO and building it in North Macedonia. And it started off with a little bit of doubt. And what I learned, one of the fundamental things that I learned is the difference in the hiring, management, and training cultures, which is something I think that the space just doesn't talk enough about.
Well, let's talk about that because, as you said, it's not being talked about. Let's dive into that. I'm curious because I've had some VAs in the past. I've hired some VAs myself. I've tried an agency as well, but I always went the typical route, and I went like Philippines, but didn't always work out for me. It could be me, it could be them, who knows?
Well, let's first start talking about like some of the locations we're hiring, because the Philippines is one of the primary locations that a lot of people go to when they talk about VAs. But we have so many other. We focus on more near shore for Europe. It's more the Balkan region. It's Albania, Kosovo, Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Bosnia, just the Balkan region in general. And you got to understand where these countries are located. They're still developing countries. They're coming out of third world into developing, and they're trying to EU ascension. They're trying to become first world, but they have a certain. They're called developing countries because they have a certain economical standpoint, right?
Mm.
And because of that, these countries foster a lot of mismanagement, a little bit of, I want to say, corruption, which causes a very, how do I say this? It makes the culture just question and not really trust everything that's going on. So the key fundamental about the culture is there's a lot of distrust for working with businesses locally, distrust for working from home. So the key fundamental is understanding a way that you could build trust while hiring employees, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, so there's definitely a hiring culture there. There's also a management culture aspect. There's certain national holidays, there's certain religious holidays. I live in an area that is predominantly two religions, Muslim and Christian Orthodox. People that are Christian Orthodox are going to have their own type of holidays, religions. Those are usually people who are ethnic, Macedonian, right? Then you have the Albanian population, who is traditionally in ex-Yugoslavia, is Muslim. And of course, they're going to have their own cultural holidays, their own national holidays, and their own religious holidays as well. So, and then there's the management culture, and then of course, training. When I brought in my first team and I started training, I understand that I was dealing with individuals that didn't speak English as their first language. So when they were thinking in their own language first, then translating it into English. And I've told this story over and over and over. I had this crazy idea when I was teaching appointment setting and teaching sales. And I made this script and I told my team, I understand you're Macedonian. Macedonian is your language. I understand you're Albanian. I'm going to say the script and I want you to write it down how you would phonetically read it in your own language. Because there were some words that you could hear the little accent in some of the word. There's nothing wrong with accent, but they started writing it in their own language, how they would phonetically, how they would phonetically, say the word, and they started catching on to English. Then they slowly started catching on to mannerism, sarcasm, and slowly, we started creating, these sales teams that kind of sounded like they were from the U.S. And then eventually, as we grew bigger, we understood that the management culture really, what's the word I'm looking for? It was really important. It was really important to have management respected. So when we never hired outside management. And I know a lot of companies, they want to hire outside management, especially management from first world countries to manage third world teams. We focused on promoting from the inside because the people listen to the ones that they respect. And we seen that the managers that were respected and that were promoted from within inside were able to make an impact on their teams. So that was another, type of culture. Another thing, and I will say this for the marketing agencies out there, for the coaches, no BA getting paid $3 an hour wants to see you in a Mercedes, in a Lexus. They don't want to see you show off. People in these countries are living very frugal.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, they 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 don't want to see they don't want to get seen making only having an opportunity to make a couple $100 a month, right? While you're, flashing and throwing, thousands of dollars. So we learned that very, very fast. And then there's just, other mannerisms, but hiring all really all really stems around trust. You have to convince an employee every day why he should work for your company or she should work for your company, right?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
one.
because there's so many opportunities right now. People can start their own thing online. It could be anywhere, right? So working for
I mean,
somebody for $5 an hour, or starting a YouTube channel or something. So many opportunities, right?
we are coming into a place in society where, and I think even Alex Ramosi was talking about this, that your competitors, these people that are in the same industry as you, they're not your competitors. What the competitor is someone becoming their own boss, someone opening up their own company, the side hustle. That's what we're losing, employees to side hustles.
Hmm.
So what we do is we are actually looking for people that are interested in starting a career or upscaling their career. People that have shown us that they went to school, they went to college, they went for a bachelor's, they went for a master's. They're, interested in actually having a meaningful career versus somebody who's just coming in for the pay. They're looking for a payday. Those are the types of people that will leave you for the bigger, better offer. But if you're looking to bring in people who are interested in company culture, and I'm not just talking about free pizza here, I'm actually talking about climbing the ladder, building something small, and building something that's just way bigger and way more influential and has an impact. Those are the people who are going to be with you for the long term, and those are the people who are going to want to work with you. Those are not the people who are interested in the side hustle.
Yeah. Now, speaking of cultures, right? Managing a team that's maybe a mix of different cultures, mix of people from different countries. Um, do you ever run across some issues with that? I know, like you mentioned, Balkan state. There's a bit of a history there from the '90s between Croatia and
Oh, I mean, I'll just say it. No one else. Like the Balkans is a place where inside the Balkans everybody hates each other, right? But outside the Balkans they love each other, right? Unless they're trolling on social media, then they hate each other again. People from the Balkans have the best memes, right? Everything is very controversial from history, identity. Everybody says Alexander the Great belongs to them. They were the ones to have I can go on for days. The Serbians versus the Albanians, the Serbians versus the Croatians, the Greeks versus the Turks versus everybody. It's just a giant mess. But typically, when I bring people into my organization, like we have people from Bosnia, Serbia, Albania, we have people from all over the world. We have a like no nationalism policy. We don't really care where you're from. Even living in here locally, we used to have people, politics is very big locally here. And this is something I'm going to talk about when it comes to culture. Politics is very big. And a lot of people, they get employed based on the political party that is in local government and of course, municipality, right? I used to say, I don't care what your ethnicity is, nationality is, what political party, who your uncle is, who they know, how long you've been to school. What we care about is what you can bring to the table, how much you can learn, and how you can better yourself, your team, and the company as a whole.
That's
So we
integrity.
have like
I
that.
like
We
it.
have a no nationalist party. Hey, we love it that people when it's football that people love the teams, they love where they're from. There's nothing wrong with that, but we don't want any of that like hate stuff where people
Yeah.
hate each other and bashing each
There
other.
there's still like there's a lot of it in the world where people like take on, outside, the world issues, and they make that the whole life. And what you just said is, hey, forget about that. I'm interested in you and what you know and what you can bring in, which adds more pressure on them to show their own personal integrity, which is important.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm a guy, I don't care about politics. I care about making a really great brand. I care about working with really cool people and, helping to create more careers and really helps, scaling businesses. I personally, I stay away from politics, but
Yeah.
I've also isolated myself outside of the United States for 8 years.
8 years. It's been 8 years. Far out.
Eight, 8 years. I've been living overseas for 8 years.
So, which brings me to my next question. I was looking at your LinkedIn and I'm preparing for this episode. I saw that, Octotasker is headquartered in Miami, but obviously you're residing in Macedonia. How do you manage like effectively your team and like maintain a strong company culture across, so many different locations?
Well, 8 years probably helped. We had 8 years to really figure out what works and what doesn't work, right? I've made my fair share of mistakes, so nobody else has to make the mistakes, that I've made, right? Um, just really good communication channels. We use Slack. Other people could use Discord. I know, there's Chat HQ for the high levelers out there. And then also task management. Really having effective and clear communication, task management tools, having weekly meetings. We like having meetings on Mondays. I like having meetings on Wednesdays. And I like my team to send everything to me on a Friday, just letting me know some of the progress that they've made over the week, some of the things that they feel really good about, some of the bottlenecks that they ran into. That way we can basically transcribe, look at the Loom videos, transcribe everything, and talk about these topics in our meetings during the week. So we used to have meetings every day. It's a lot, but having meetings twice a week, Monday and Wednesday, that's what I like doing. We always give the weekends off. We don't work weekends. I have 4 kids. We're a family. This company was built on family culture, and a lot of the people that work with us, they have families. And one of the reasons why they come to work with us and also work with our clients is because we don't work on Saturdays and Sundays, and they get to spend time with their families on the weekend.
I love it. I love it. That, brings everybody together and everybody feels like part of a team, and everybody's respected. The personal space is important. Family is important. So I love it. Now you talk about team. Now this is your internal team, but obviously you also help recruit and find
So
talent for other companies. So do I understand
di-
correctly that the people that you hire, they are also like part of your team as well, or how does it work?
people that we hire are part of our team as well. So the people that we hire are the ones that are part of our team. The ones that we're hiring for other companies, that's not part of our team. We have a different approach. We used to have the kind of VA outsourcing BPO. Like I said, we built the very first BPO in North Macedonia. This was after I, designed several call centers.
BPO stands for.
It business process outsourcing. These are the giant companies that you see in the Philippines where you pay $10, $20 an hour
Right.
for an employee to be managed. We did that here in North Macedonia to outsource European talent. But I'm going to be the first to say this, as a BPO owner, I didn't feel good with myself, really paying my employees the lowest, just to turn a profit. So I said something had to change. Not only did I want to spend more time with my family, not only were we attracting a lot of other businesses throughout Europe to come into Macedonia because we were the beacon of, we were the people that turned something in from nothing into this huge thing. Just think about the people that actually have money to, they started, but as the investors were coming in and there was more companies investing in Macedonia, one, we couldn't keep up with all the call centers that were popping up on every single corner. This is the original land of funnel hackers, the Balkan. Copy paste is the name of the game here. If it works, it will be replicated. Trust me. So I want to spend more time with my family. Me and my wife are running the business. We were managing multiple locations. I just had my first child. I'm having my second child. We have more competition coming in. We need to do something different. Let's go fully remote. That was the first thing. Second phase was we no longer want to manage these large teams. It would be really nice if we could just charge a one-time recruitment fee, help our clients hire directly instead of the BPO staffing model where they pay us 20 and maybe the person gets paid low as possible. We didn't like that model anymore. We didn't like the minimum wage model. We wanted the talent to get paid above average. So I spoke with my team. A lot of people said this is really difficult. This is something different. You're going to really disrupt the industry. I said, I don't care. Let's do everything fully remote. I'm ready. And let's help people hire directly. And then we could teach them how to manage and, whatnot. And then the pandemic hit and we were prepared for it. We were one of the only companies prepared. And that's how I kind of found my way into the Go High Level community. All of a sudden, a bunch of marketing agencies popped up out of nowhere. The SMMA, the SMMA just started, popping up everywhere, and it just changed the whole dynamics of how we were operated. I remember when we first went remote, nobody trusted anybody remote. And then one day they just had no choice. And then they realized this is a lot easier. We don't have to, pay for an office. We could hire anywhere in the world. We could hire at local rate. We could pay above average and get really good talent and retain that talent. So, they didn't have to use, the Filipino BPOs and call centers and pay $10 to $20 an hour for an employee that may be getting paid $2 or $3 an hour. They could, hire someone over there at an above average rate of 4 to 6, and they could build their team effectively, efficiently, and at scale.
And that's also good because it leaves you a room to keep raising their wages as a way to motivate them, as opposed to hiring an agency, paying them $20 an hour for staff. Well, that doesn't really leave you much more to give, right? Especially if you're talking about scale. If you've got a lot of these people, so if you're starting somebody on $5 an hour and they're good, you can even package it into their employment contract and say, hey, we've got this remuneration, we've got this benefit scheme, and you can climb up your hourly rate to this rate, and these are some of the criteria. Either it's time and whatever you set up, right? So that's good.
Yeah, even like I'll mention white label suites. Joanna and them guys, when they have their sales guy Lex from Jamaica, speaks perfect English. He's highly skilled, educated, just really professional, and he's been part of the team for over a year. And they've hired tons of people from Jamaica all over the world. There's Ryan from Growthable. We found him a guy from Belize, at an above average rate of $5 an hour, and he's been with him almost a year, doing the onboardings. And we've helped out tons of agencies like this. And one of the things that make us, like I said, that makes us a little bit different is we focus on nearshore. If you're a U.S. company, we're going into Latin America. We're going into the Caribbean on the same time zones. There's not a significant cultural barrier. There's not a language barrier because the places that we're recruiting, English is the first language. And then if we're recruiting in Europe, the Balkans, South Africa, again, there's not a language barrier there. There's not a significant cultural barrier. And, in the regions that we're hiring in, English is a primary language. South Africa, English is the first language. We go to Kosovo. You got a military base there. Everybody speaks English. English is the first language. You know, so
What about Australia? That's a tricky one.
we get a lot of clients from Australia. Unfortunately, it's hard to, provide nearshore talent unless we go to like Malaysia, the Philippines.
Yeah.
A lot of people have had bad experiences with the Philippines, which kind of makes them not want to hire there. I just feel that those bad experiences really, they could have been avoided if there was just better recruitment. I've recruited in the Philippines. It is really tough. It takes us 10 times more, a workforce to really screen. It
What
takes a lot. I mean, a lot of trust building.
Why do you think that is?
Okay, so 80% of the GDP, I believe it's 80%. I may be wrong, but 80% of the GDP is outsourcing. It's just oversaturated. There's so many opportunities there. Another thing people don't realize in the Philippines, they want to work with companies locally because if they get paid, we'll say it like not as a contractor, but as an employee, you need to understand this. If they get paid as an employee over there, they get insurance. They're able to take all of that to the bank, take out a loan so they could buy land, build a house, and pay off that loan, maybe a couple, $100 or $200 a month. And remember, in a lot of these countries, when, the families live in one location, they live in one house. You have a daughter, the daughter moves out, she gets married, moves into the husband's family's house. You have a son gets married, his wife moves in the house, and everybody is contributing into the household.
Right. Very traditional, old school family. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they care about that.
So
So what you're saying is if they don't work for like a local company in and around Philippines, instead they work as an outsourcer getting paid in US dollars, then it's harder to get
they,
bank loan for them.
they correct. Unless they become like maybe a sole proprietor and they use the money to pay their own paycheck and insurance.
Mhm.
So it's really a mixture, but that is one circumstance. Another circumstance is a lot of Filipinos have been burnt by companies that just don't pay them as well. So
Right.
there's a
Yeah. So
huge,
I was gonna
huge,
that's what I was
yeah,
gonna follow
second,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You were
So they,
saying it's easy for companies. They realized during COVID it's easy to hire, but I was gonna say also easy to hire is easy to fire, right?
yeah. So I mean, you get companies, and we run into an employer once in a while that will make up any excuse possible why he doesn't want to pay his employees' last paycheck. And that's why our model works really good. We're not only able to screen the candidates, but we're able to screen the employer. We charge a one-time recruitment fee. And if, the employer can't really, pay the one-time recruitment fee or tries to talk us down, 9 times out of 10, he can't afford payroll or she can't afford payroll.
Right. So that's how you screen them. If they can't afford a recruitment
Cor-
fee,
cor-
yeah, okay.
Correct. And then we really work with them on the onboarding call, going over expectations. And if they don't follow our expectations, they're not setting up payroll, they're not setting up Wise or Payoneer or Remitly. We get all these things. We want to get all these things set up before we bring them 3 candidates to interview and onboard someone in their organization.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got some red flags that you look at. And
Yeah,
now
yeah,
my personal experience, I've actually worked for an agency directly from Philippines that has a similar model like yours. And the way they work, I ended up being a good relationship with the agency, but the hire when we've it didn't pan out. But and then I decided not to pursue it anymore and just do it on myself. But myself, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. But that aside, it was the deal was they helped me find somebody, and if I'm not happy, they continue to find somebody else. So it's like you pay for a slot. Is that how you
yeah.
do it as well?
We have a 60-day replacement guarantee. So there's a few things so we do have a very similar model, and this is really popular among recruitment. So most recruiting agencies, like all over the world, UK, US, have a 60-day replacement guarantee. One thing I never did is I tell people, listen, we are not a money back agent. We don't have a money back agency guarantee. We have a replacement guarantee. We understand that there is several circumstances that could result as the employer not being a good fit or the employee not being a good fit, right? For example, if you're a company who just built a new sales process and never hired before, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have some hiccups, right? If you never paid an employee before, never paid someone overseas, there may be a hiccup. If you don't pay that first payroll on time and you're a day late, an hour shy, there is going to be this doubt inside the employee's head that they're not working with a serious company. Remember, they want to work with a serious company. They want to work with a US, Australia, UK. They want to work for their idea of what an American company would be like,
Yeah.
right? That's their dream. I want to work for an American company. I want to get paid American dollars. I want to work for a company like Apple, like Microsoft, like yeah. But if you don't look like a serious company, you are showing up late to the team meetings. You show up late, you allow them to show up late.
That's
What
true.
you do, they mirror.
Mhm.
All right. There is a million things that can go wrong. And for that, we have a replacement guarantee. Sometimes a candidate and an employer are just not a right match. Sometimes there's communication issues. There could be a number of things. Sometimes, hey, we even miss our mark. We could put candidates through a 1-month vetting process, and sometimes a candidate could sneak through and pull one over on our eyes because recruitment is all about onion peeling and getting to the layer. What makes us cry? Getting to that one character defect that shows us the foundation of their character.
Mhm.
So sometimes we miss our mark. Because of that, we have to have a replacement guarantee. We don't need a money back guarantee, but we need a replacement guarantee that's going to make sure that we can get them the talent they need to scale their business.
So speaking of finding the right talent, how do like what are some of the qualities or skills that do you prioritize when you're selecting candidates?
It really depends on what you're lacking. So it depends on what your business is lacking and the position. We have a very intense recruiting process. From coming in, applying with our company, we're sending an email out, which of course we automate with high level, right? We're sending an email out, requesting for them to follow some instructions, requesting them to, send us a Loom video. We have a scoring section that we do when we're looking at the Loom video, when we're looking at their resumes. And we're not looking at everything in such intense detail. Like one of the things I don't like resumes, depending on the position. For a sales position, I don't care about a resume. But, if you're a web developer, a UI UX designer, I care about that resume, and that resume better be optimized like a website.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at resumes, I'm looking at Loom videos, and I want to make sure that they can communicate and meet deadlines effectively and efficiently. Depending on the position, I would prefer English to be their first language. We recruit in a lot of areas where English is a first language. If they meet that scope, we bring them in for an interview. We put them in through several interviews. It can go from 2 to 4 interviews. Then I like doing some skill assessments, some personality testing, all the way from DISC to Myers-Briggs. And I do something a little bit different than what most people do. I don't do skill or personality assessments until the end of the recruiting cycle, because these assessments are not going to help me in the beginning, because I'm seeing what you want me to see in the beginning of the recruitment process.
Right.
My goal is to wear down your assets, your time, you needing this job. And I'm trying to almost get you to just quit. I'm seeing how far will you go.
So
I
even
know
just
kinda,
even just by the nature of having multiple meetings, that's already
well,
filtering out a whole bunch of wheat, if I say it
yup.
that way.
And then I can get a team building session where I can get 10, 20 candidates for 5 days a week. We can go over skill assessments. We can even go over some trainings. We can go, it depends if I'm hiring appointment setters. I might have a whole 5-day training just on cold calling, appointment setting. I could see who's showing up early, who's getting kicked out of Zoom. I could see who is skilled, and I could also see who may not be as skilled, but who's trainable as well. Who's going to be a really good fit, because just because you're skilled doesn't mean that you're not going to be completely toxic
Mm.
and a flunky, you know. So it really depends. So, but I'm trying to put them through a really lengthy recruitment process. I want to get them in a team setting so I can identify who the leaders are going to be, how people are going to follow instructions, how they're going to work around other team members. Are they going to try to burn each other? Are they going to work together? Who's going to show up? Who's going to show out? Who's going to try to hide? Who's going to be a ducker and a dodger and try to hide behind the people that are showing out? And my goal is to find the top placeable candidate. And then from finding the top placeable candidates, I want to find 3 good ones that it would be a good fit for my client.
I love it. You talk very passionately about people. Have you always been, like that?
I don't. I'm passionate about helping people. I help a lot of people, and I don't really, I don't ask for it. I give advice away for free all the time. I give too much advice away for free that I should be probably making content about
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you
And I've
helped
been
me back in January when I was like asking you, "Hey, I had this VA. Can you help me out? Like, can you suss it out? Is it, you know what I mean? Remember?"
the 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 only thing that wears me down in life is when you're so passionate about helping people, and once in a while you just run into really crappy people, and
Mm.
you help them so much, and they just take,
Yeah.
and then they don't even care about like any of the stuff that type. But moreover, yeah, I am very passionate about people. I want to help people out. I want to help people get jobs. I want to help people grow their organizations. Sometimes I could see things in other people's organizations, and sometimes I'm blocked from seeing things in my organization.
Mm.
That like I'm great at marketing, helping other people market for theirs, but sometimes I suck with it because I'm a perfectionist. So when it comes to my own artistic ways of doing things in my organization, sometimes I get mentally blocked. But yeah, I'm a people person. I like helping people.
Now, I'm I would consider myself a bit of an introvert, at sometimes maybe extrovert. I don't know. I haven't really defined it that well, but I generally work better like as an individual. I'm not like generally a big team player. Not that like not for selfish reasons or anything. It's just I'm just not built that way, right? It's just normal. Some people know. But I am running the company, and I am running. I've got SaaS, I've got consulting business. I sell snapshots to other agencies. So I've got a few things, and I know, and I'm starting to feel I'm getting to that stage where like I'm gonna have to hire some people. And I'm a bit worried because I've done it in the past. It didn't really work. Maybe it was maybe
You
I'm not a good manager. I'm not maybe a good leader.
be worried. You should be worried. Are you a people manager or project manager?
I think I'm more of a project manager, but I realize I need to build more soft skills. 100%.
But what you need to do is you need to hire a people manager. If you're not a people manager, you need to hire someone who's good at what you're not good at. So if you're good at project managing,
Hmm.
you should focus on doing what you love doing and what you enjoy doing, which is managing projects. And you bring in a people manager to manage the people.
And then what about the interaction with me and the people manager? Are they going to be
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, well, you're going to have to interact, but managing people is not easy.
No.
It's really hard. Managing relationships. You're managing relationships. You got to manage the client relationships. You got to manage the employee relationships. If the employees mess up, that impacts the client relationships. If your clients aren't happy, now you're not happy, and it could just really,
And then there's also like some level of compassion that you got to show. You can't always be hard
yeah,
ass, and it's always not just the business. It's not easy.
yeah.
Not easy.
And then it's really difficult to divide business from people because business is business. And, it's tough. It's hard to manage relations. Business is really black and white, you
Yeah.
know, and relationships are not so black and white. So managing those relationships and it's a balancing act.
Yeah. So what you're saying is hire a people manager, and then that's
But
what you see works well in businesses that you help.
that is what works well. All our clients that have communication issues with their teams, Um, they are not the greatest people managers. They are the best project managers. They are even the best client managers. But when it's managing expectations and tasks that need to get that requires their clients to get results, they are not the best.
You said it perfectly. And this is, this is what stems from being a perfectionist, because when I built shit myself, because of me being a perfectionist, I've got a certain standard, and then I expect that standard from others. And yeah, doesn't always
No
happen.
one no one is gonna care more about your business than you. You are the visionary. You are the, I guess, the visionary, the brain, the heart, right? And you just gotta start, you know, bringing in all these other people that contribute to the business. We had a client who was looking for a do everything marketing person. And what that client realized is when he was interviewing people, he was like, wow, this person's really good at copy. This person's really good at SEO, or the technical side of SEO. This person's really good at this. Why am I hiring just one person when I could just be building a team of, from people that are really good at, specific things and have them dedicated to that?
Hmm. That sounds good.
A lot. No, we don't know nothing about hiring. We like, I don't know about you, but I didn't I mean, yeah, sure, I climbed my way a little bit into corporate, but I'm as smart as the people that I learned from. I didn't I didn't learn this business thing from, I didn't go to business school and learn this, business thing from business school. I learned this from just 8 years of trial error, success, failure, success, failure.
Now, before you decided to travel the world and meet your partner and decided to live where you live now in Macedonia, obviously you're from US. You're from Florida.
I'm
Or
from New York
Mm,
originally. I'm from
mm,
Buffalo, New York.
there you go. That's where that accent comes from. Okay.
I'm almost Canadian. Not quite that.
So what did you do before that?
Me, you know what? I don't like really saying this stuff, but I grew up in like foster homes and stuff like that. Didn't really grow up in a, stable house. I was there for the '07, '08, crisis. I was there when it was impossible to get a job at Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons, or McDonald's. I was just really everything, man, from cleaning toilets to construction to any job that I could possibly, find. I mean, even day laboring jobs where I would go out on a day, find a job that will pay some money, and I attended the soup kitchens. I come from like, dude, I come from the lower, poverty level neighborhoods. I go from poverty. And I used it as kind of like a superpower. I didn't let any I didn't have any, wasn't born with any materials. I didn't have came from nothing. So I'm building something. I put myself in a location where I was able to fail. And I just always have this mentality. If you fail, don't worry, you're not losing anything because you didn't come from anything. You're only gaining. So I did whatever job it took. I went inside an organization. I learned, I became the best, I networked, and I used that to get inside, and get a better job and then get into another organization. Till one day, I'm in Seattle going to school, working at a college, working for a nonprofit organization. And next thing you know, I'm all the way in Miami, working my way into a sales career, selling mattresses until I'm the regional sales manager until one day I, worked my way to learn how to be an appointment setter for a call center. And next thing you know, I'm one of the highest sales guys in one of the biggest call centers in Durrell. Next thing you know, I'm getting next to lead brokers. I'm learning how to broker leads. And now I'm working from home and I'm, getting an opportunity to go across these and build a call center
It's freaking
to be my own
amazing.
boss.
That's really cool. So many different experiences you get to leverage from,
I-
and you would 100% also relate easier to people that you hire, right? If they come from like lower socioeconomic backgrounds,
yeah.
it's great. Now you can capitalize on that, so that's awesome. I just lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you my next question. I forgot. Oh yeah, that's what it was. So obviously this podcast is for high levelers, right? We've got people that have been in this space for years. High level has been around since what is it, 2018? So quite, it's ranging on sixth year now, seventh year. So there's people that have been around, really established, some big players, some big SaaSpreneurs, some big affiliates. But you know, I've been in the community for close to 5 years now, and or 4 years, and the Facebook group, like the rate how it grows. It's just
Ooh,
ridiculous.
oh,
It's
man.
ridiculous. It's edging on 75,000 last time I looked. Last year, just before I was leaving to Dallas for the Level Up Summit, it was sort of 50. Like it's making these massive leaps. So there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of new young agencies that are starting to, or not even agencies, but wanna be SaaSpreneurs that are catching on that this is a big opportunity. And now, a long-winded question, I know. So the question is, what would you recommend to them in terms of like a team building blueprint, like where they're at, when they should start to consider maybe building a team around them, and why?
If I'm a marketer that gonna post stuff on Facebook, I'm gonna tell you shouldn't hire your first team member until you hit 10K. But guess what? That wouldn't be correct because I hired my first team member with a couple $1,000s in my pocket. Okay. Just look at this. If you're gonna hire your first team member, put 3 months of payroll in front. That's what I say because it's a 3-month investment. What we do is when we bring a team member in, we understand the first 2 weeks, they're going to learn the systems. Please make sure that you have some sort of systems if you have process. If you don't have systems and you don't have processes, your first hire needs to be an executive assistant. I'm not talking about a VA administrative assistant that you're seeing all over online. I'm talking about you need to look for a real career admin, someone maybe that you can hire part-time, help you build SOPs, build systems. Your first system that you should build out should be a marketing system, appointment setting system, and a sales system. Client fulfillment is important, so you also need client fulfillment system as well. Marketing, lead gen, and sales, really important. You get those systems in place, then you could start hiring an appointment setter. A lot of the marketing you could do yourself. Eventually, you hire an appointment setter. One appointment setter is working out. When we hire appointment setters, we're looking at 6 weeks, 2 weeks to really get up to ramp. And then the other 2 weeks, we want to do a progress report to see where they're at. And on the 6th week, we should be able to identify if we have a high performer in the organization. So first hire, if you don't have SOPs, executive assistants. If you have SOPs, you have systems, you just need really good talent and you need to get bodies in the seats. If you are adding people on Facebook, you're messaging, and you know that you're converting into appointments, you have a replicatable system. Same thing if you have data and dialer, you're calling, you have a replicatable system. So, to answer your question, if you don't have SOPs, I would say your first hire should be a part-time executive assistant. If you have appointment setting systems already established, hire an appointment setter. The salesperson should really be the last hire.
Now, for those that may not know about this concept of appointment setters, what does it mean? Because we have high level, and you can create a calendar widget and just send people to book a call, right?
All right. So appointment setter is really an agency term, and it's such an online term. You have outbound cold callers. You have people that are calling outbound leads that opted in. Then you have your non-opt-in. So you have cold callers. You have inbound setters that are handling inbound leads, and then you have outbound setters that are handling outbound opt-in. Your pure appointment setter, your junior salesperson is going to be that person that cold calls, knows how to get past the gatekeeper, knows how to find the decision maker, and knows how to build value with the decision maker and book them for an appointment with you for a sales opportunity. So
So this particular role, you need to have a bit of a thick skin to do this type of job.
yeah, so if I was to lay down a blueprint, right, and I could do it under 3 minutes, right, I would say you got your Facebook, you got your socials, you got your Facebook, you got your Instagram, you got your TikTok, you got your Twitter. You need to have an ecosystem, community. You need to, whether you're doing outbound and you're cold calling and you're giving them some sort of value, which is a free course, and you're bringing them into your community. You're making content that showing that you have authority, you have knowledge, and it's valuable content that's going to nurture them. And eventually you're going to book an appointment, whether that's through LinkedIn, whether that's through Messenger, whatever it is. It's a whole ecosystem that you need. It's just not one thing. It's cold calling, it's ads, it's cold email, it's opt-ins, it cold DMing. It's everything. It's making content. It's the website. It's just being everywhere.
And then you go from there. So let's talk about trends, because everything you said up until this point, lots of great value, but there are some big shifts. There's some new technology, there's AI. What are some trends that, that you see happening in the, people staffing industry? What do you think will happen?
Oh, well, this is my belief. Trends will put you to an end. If you focus on trends are very short term. Trends come, trends go. I'm sure I have a fidget spinner in my house somewhere from 2016. Haven't seen it since then. Trends will go. Stick to fundamentals. If we're talking about trends, AI is a trend. It's just another piece of software right now. It's just another piece of SaaS. It still needs to be backed by human. It's a tool, just like Photoshop, just like anything. It's a tool. Will it pick up? I think it will. Do I think it's gonna replace human relationships? No. Biggest trend I see in HR right now is everyone trying to use AI or intelligence. Everybody trying to use HR for AI for recruitment. We don't do anything AI for recruitment because there's so much inputs that you need to evaluate a human being. There's so much different. There's just so many different scenarios. So the AI is definitely a trend in HR. But if I have AI, what's really important for when I'm recruiting is that I have a relationship with a candidate. So I'll give headhunting an example. If I have a competitor and I want to headhunt that candidate, from a competitor's organization, let's say a big call center, right? I got to build a relationship with that person. I got to show them that there's value, that I'm able to help them, and that, I have to consistently build value over a 6-month period. AI is not going to be able to headhunt for me. AI is not going to be able to scout talent. AI may be able to assess at a lower level, but so the AI trend is there in recruitment. There's always trends with positions. We've seen the setter trend. We've seen the video editor trend. I called it when Alex Hormozy Reels came out, when they coined it. I go, video editors will be the next trend. I told my team, focus on video editors because everybody will freaking come for a short form video editor. And not even a few weeks later, the courses started dropping. That's how you see the trend. You start seeing the influencers drop the courses. Once the influencers start flooding the market with the courses, well, we know what the business we got to recruit for. And so we've seen that trend. And I said this is going to last so long until it gets saturated to someone causes a disruption and says, okay, this is no longer a trend. Now long form video is a trend. We've seen that coming. Same thing. Remember when the cold DMing trend happened?
Oh yeah.
Everybody, and I said, just wait. Everyone's going to say someone's going to say cold calling is dead, and they're going to launch cold calling. There's going to be a cold calling trend. You just got to remember, when you saturate a channel, look at the next channel that's not being used. Take the road that's less. Take it.
Go back to the beginning, right? Fuck trends.
Fuck,
Yeah.
Talk the road.
Fuck take the road less prevalent.
Fuck trends. Stick to the fundamentals. We've had one offer. It's been the same offer. It's been the same thing. It's been there since 2020. And we haven't jumped on any trends. Sure, have we lost some money from it? I'm sure we have. But guess what? We've been in business for 8 years for longevity. We didn't die down.
That's a while. Yeah, that's a while to say, well, this is working. It's mature enough, right?
We were able to build several call centers. The first BPO, hire over 1,000 employers internally for the organization, help over 600 employers throughout the U.S., Canada, Australia, even South Africa, hire over 2,000 virtual assistants, because we just stuck to fundamentals. We stuck to, what worked. We understood when the cold DMing was working. We paid attention to that. Well, the people are going to need cold DMers. So we need to make sure people are up to skill. We just, the cold calling, we knew that we want to go after cold callers, video editors. We just stuck to the fundamentals. Did we take advantage of some trends here and there? Yeah, but we didn't make it our whole business. And everyone may hate me for the next thing I'm going to say. I didn't market my business around high level, just like I didn't market my business around ClickFunnels or Bitrix24. There's a lot of people who have branded their business around high level specifically. I have a lot of faith in high level, but I just wanted to be a recruiting agency that was able to work with all businesses throughout the US, throughout Canada, throughout Australia. Are we really embedded into the high level community? Absolutely. 100%. We have the trust of, a large majority of high levelers, but that was something else. We wanted to stick to fundamentals. We didn't want to build a business around a piece of SaaS, right? Because we didn't want to have to rely on another company for business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And that actually reminds me of one of our past guests, Joel and Lawrence, who specialize exactly in this, right? And they do really, really well at well, we both know them, right? We talked about it.
Yeah. Joel and Lawrence are amazing. And honestly, I think that they're completely opposite of us. And they're doing something that we don't do. We don't specialize in recruiting high-level experts. They do specialize in recruiting high-level experts, which is amazing for the high-level community as a niche.
There's a big need, yeah. 100%. Speaking of high level, you mentioned you use high level for your own organization. How do you find it? What do you use it for?
We built a recruitment snapshot for our recruitment. We are still migrating because we have a lot of data in our other ATS application tracking system. And I had to make sure that, so we're doing it for application tracking right now. And what I really liked was the WhatsApp integration. So I said one day, email is going to cause us a lot of issues. Let's focus on WhatsApp. This way we're sending messages and communicating in WhatsApp and in email all together. People overseas, they don't use phone. They don't use phone numbers like that.
Yeah.
They're not called, not like it is in the US. We're not calling each other on the phone.
You go to Spain and you book in a hotel through WhatsApp. It's so popular in Europe.
Yeah. WhatsApp or Viber. So now we're looking at a Viber integration. Viber integration. We gave up on Skype.
That's dead. I don't know what happened to that.
It's actually not as much as you think, especially when you start going in like to Africa. You start recruiting in Africa, it's like Skype's not that, but WhatsApp and Viber is good enough. Email. We're not really interested in sending messages through phone numbers. So yeah, our recruitment, our training, we're building personality testing, integrating personality testing into our contact. So as somebody applies, they come in as a contact. They're sent an automated email requesting to specifications in a Loom video. We get the Loom video. They send the Loom video that automates in a different stage of the pipeline. That Loom video also automates over to ClickUp, so our editors can edit that Loom video. Also, our team needs to look at that Loom video, score it. They qualifies with the resume, move them on to an interview. Evidently, they get a sequence inviting, into an interview, second, and then they qualify for a second interview, third interview, fourth interview. Then, we like to call certification. We put them through assessments. Then they go through 1 week of assessments. We get a group coming in. That gets a little bit more trickier because there's groups that are appointment setters. There's groups that are client account managers. There's groups that are salespeople. So it gets a little bit trickier and stickier there.
It's almost like you need somebody there that's got a role of like routing this to different teams to look at.
Yeah, it's all about the training, because when we do training, what we call training or certification, we like to call it certification. What we do certification, we like to call it certification, but I really don't like calling it, because we're not really we're recruiting people that have experience. We're recruiting experts. We're not recruiting entry level people to get them certified. But we need to put them through assessments. We need to see who they are just to make sure, because people can lie. Yeah. But nonetheless, put them through certification. And that's a week process, whether they're coming in for appointment setting. So, and we do it live. We don't do watch this video, answer these questionnaires. Live, basically, group, certification, coaching going on, Q&As. Then they do live assessment. So we have 20, 40 people just doing these assessments, submitting them, and moving on to, next day, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And after day 5, then we start putting together the ones and, that are good fits for our clients, start figuring out which ones that would be great to interview with our clients. Then we have to have them interview with our clients, have them show up, get the interview. The client, evidently says, I love this one. I'd like to onboard them in the organization. Then we got to onboard them in the organization, put together the schedule, working hours, W-8B and tax form for our American clients, the independent contractor agreement for our clients, and get them smoothly onboarded and transitioned into the client's organization.
Now, once they're onboarded in a client's organization, do you have some sort of follow-up system in place to make sure that it's on track? The new role is the new person in the organization is finding the like filling the shoes.
We're
You know what I mean?
we're always improving. So we're always improving, and it depends on the role. Okay, it depends on the client as well. Some client wants less, hands-on. So we always tell our clients, do a bi-weekly scoring. If you have any issues, bring it to our team's attention. We can help you address. If there's any issues that you have with progress or performance, bring it to our attention so we can address it and we can help get them on a call, go over their progress, because we want to do 2-week assessments. We want all our clients to do 2-week assessment. First 2 weeks, it's really the kind of, getting used to everything phase, not expecting whole lot of progress, right? Because it takes time to get used. Then the 4th week, which there should be some progress there. And then by the 6th week, at the 6th week, we should know, is this person a high performer? Or, do we need to get them out of the organization and get, replace them?
Yeah.
So it all depends based on the client's needs.
What's the ratio like in terms of success, placement success? Do you have like an average? Let's say
You
like
know what? A few
no?
years ago, yeah. So, as far as client satisfaction, it used to be like around 70. Through the years, we got it up to 90. So let's say 9 out of 10 clients, they're happy every once in a while. But that also goes about expectations,
Yeah.
really setting up good expectations and working with clients who are in the they have the problem, they need the staff then and now, and they're a good fit to hire. Some people are not good fits to hire. Some agencies, they have a few clients and they think it's time to bring in an ISA, which in all actuality, they shouldn't be selling the ISA model until they have, like, let's say maybe more than 5 to 10 clients, right?
What's an
The
ISA?
ISA model, is when you're running marketing campaigns, leads are coming in, and you have an internal appointment setter calling your client's lead,
Okay.
which I'm totally against. And the reason why I'm against that model is I believe that the employer, the company that you're marketing for, should be responsible for their sales. You should not be responsible for their marketing. That's just my opinion.
Mm. I'm 100% of that, because marketing is a big thing anyway, and that's a lot of responsibility to rely on a staff member. 100%. Daniel, this has been an
So
insightful.
just to answer your question, no, to answer your question, we have a really low replacement rate because we've got better on working with clients that we love working with that align with our values. We've got really good at finding staff that also align with our values and making the correct fit. And we got really good at expectations. So in the beginning, when we were just a baby company, we made tons of mistakes. As we grow and we get better, we improve, we get feedback, we get better and better, more effective, more efficient. And, we're aiming towards perfection.
Well, that perfectly aligns with where I'm at. So, one thing's for sure, I'll definitely be reaching out in the very near future, because, what's important to me is approachability and feeling, like that I can trust a particular company. And I mean, we just talked for an hour, but I would feel pretty confident working with you when I have a need, which will be soon, to build a bit of a team around me. So so that's
Awesome, man.
100%. Now, I don't know what the what's that fee? What do you call that fee? The find
The recruitment,
rec,
the finder's fee.
finder's fee. Is that what's still called? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the recruitment and placement. It sounds a bit more like
Yeah.
so.
Whatever the end individual understands. Recruitment and placement fee, finder's fee, one-time fee.
Does it vary, or is it a fixed? Doesn't matter what client, like where the client is at.
It's between $1,500 and $2,500 USD per hire.
Per hire, yeah. But you're talking again, very, very thorough, very high quality hire. So, that's
Yeah, we're going after the top 1% experts. Nearshore experts is what we're looking for.
yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, excellent. So, I mean, this podcast is for high levelers. So this is your chance to pitch the offer. I mean, there's others that are gonna need your services. So how are they gonna find about this? What's the deal?
Whether you're brand new and know nothing about hiring, know nothing about HR, or your time is so valuable that you don't have time creating job board, you don't have time scheduling interviews, qualifying people, interviewing once, interviewing 2 times, 3 times, putting people through personality assessments, training, onboarding, people quitting, and then having to do that process all over again. You could just get on a call with me. If we are a good fit and we are confident that we can get you the results you need and the hires you need, we will go over our offer and we will find you someone who is amazing and that is a great fit in under 15 days. And by any chance, if they are not a great fit, which does happen here and there, we have a 60-day replacement guarantee and we will work with you until we find someone who is an amazing fit.
I love it. Hey guys, and by the way, we're gonna sweeten the deal here. So if you head over to a highlevelexperience.com/Octotasker, am I saying it right? Yeah.
Octotasker, yeah.
Octo like an octopus. Octopus.
Like an octopus. Like exactly. It's actually look at the logo. It's actually an octopus.
Well, there you go. I'll slice it in. Yeah. So guys, so highlevelexperience.com // same thing, Octotasker. You'll be able to find out everything about this, about Daniel's recruitment agency, about his packages, about the offer. But I like to make some special deals for you guys, and you're gonna start to see more of that. We haven't done a good enough job in the past, but I want to do a better job. So here's what I'm gonna do: is if you actually go ahead, full disclosure, we do have an affiliate arrangement, right? As a smart business would. But I want to sweeten the deal. So if you do end up hiring Daniel, then I'm gonna throw in 3 1-hour consulting calls to talk about system. My big thing, if you're first time here in the podcast, my big thing is systemization through a thing I call the profit roadmap system, which is a modular. There's 10 different snapshots. A lot of people don't know about it, by the way, that you can actually stack snapshots. Right, because there's nothing worse than finding a new client, setting them up on the subscription, and then dropping this megaton huge snapshot in their account, and then having to spend days on end to set it up, let alone having to ask for a massive setup fee for the client, which creates friction. What you're better off doing is compartmentalizing that snapshot into modules. Start with the one that's going to make most impact for the client right away. It's quick and it's easy to set up. That way you can ask for a smaller setup fee, client's happier, and then it's a lot easier to then upsell them to the next module. So that's kind of like the way I run my agency, my SaaS agency. And I've kind of productized this as a model for other agencies. So you can check it out on my website. But what I'm going to do here, I do have an affiliate offer. Like if you did want to sign up for high level, if you're not a high level yet, or if you wanted to upgrade, I do have that on my website too. And there's some perks, but if you're already, like, say, on a $497 plan, that means, sorry, I can't really help you on the affiliate side as per my deal. But if you do sign up with Daniel, I will drop I'm not going to say it here. I'm going to keep you I like surprises. So, hey, just head over to highlevelsexperience.com/Octotasker. There's going to be some consulting pro bono. I normally charge $150 for a consulting call, but I'm going to drop in some nice additional goodies in there for you guys to help you out.
And this is really important because businesses are built on systems and scaled by talent.
100%. And hey, you know what? I just spoke about this Johan from White Label Suite a couple of days ago, and we actually he's been on the episode. Well, at the time listening to this one, the last one was with Johan, and he convinced me I should come and speak about this. At first, I was like, "You sure?" I mean, there's some big players speaking. I feel a bit rusty. I haven't really done it, but he's done a good job at convincing me. So, but just happened, and here's how the universe works, right? I've been talking to Daniel on Messenger since January. We've just been talking about some advice, blah blah blah. Ended up me interviewing him today, as you just listened to this interview. But guess what? He is also speaking at this event. So guys,
Right.
if you're serious about growing your SaaS agency, there's this cool little event called High Level Expert Summit, which has been put together by two awesome legends, Walt and Johan from White Label Suite. And because they have all so many great connections with some of the other legends, they ended up putting together a list of 20 like high class, like top dogs speakers that are going to be speaking. And it's a 3-day event. It's virtual, live and virtual. I believe it's 23rd, 24th, 25th. No, 24th, 25th, 26th. From memory, July. So anyway, it's a 3-day event. The ticket is crazy. It's like a dirt cheap ticket. You can't get any cheaper. It's just
$1.
One freaking dollar.
All right, guys. July 24th, July 26th, the Expert Summit. Vit's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. He's gonna be talking about systems, right?
Systems, my profit roadmap method, but yeah, all that.
I'm going to be teaching on how to find the top 1% offshore and nearshore talent. And there's going to be so many amazing people there. It's hosted by Comet Suites. So let's rock and roll.
By the way, little sneak peek, guys. I'm actually working. It's on my roadmap. Podcasting it's a secret little channel for marketing. I've got 2 podcasts that I run, a Success Inspired podcast and this podcast, which I've been privileged to kick off with Andrew from CHQ, which is unfortunately no longer part of the team, as you may have found out. I mentioned that. I talked about it in the previous episodes. Nothing happened. We're mates. It's just some career shifts that prevent him from being part of it, unfortunately. So anyway, podcasting is a really not a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people might want to do podcasts for like positioning, building a profile and maybe a bit of like a content marketing, but there is more to it. And so I'm actually going to be putting together a brand new snapshot that's going to come out later this year, because I've systemized the heck out of it, and I think I'm feeling pretty confident with the as a product. But also I'm gonna include a course about how you can generate clients or strategic referral partners or affiliate sign up. So 3 birds in 1 stone. It's been working for me really well. It's a bit of a longer game because obviously,
It works for me really well.
Yeah. And you're creating content that is, out on the internet, and it's going to stay there for the rest of the
I'm probably going to take this podcast and I'm going to create a bunch of probably 30 reels that I'm going to be posting for a month.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to use Descript to use AI that's going to give us all that. But yeah, so that's the other thing. I will include a course on the post production, on how I do it end to end. I've been in podcasting since 2019, so for a while now, and 90 episodes later, I feel pretty confident that I can probably provide some value. So anyway, guys, this High Level Expert Summit. So definitely come along. I'm going to be speaking on Thursday, July 25th at 11 a.m. Eastern time about my topic. When are you speaking, Daniel? When is your slot?
It is going to be Friday, July 26th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And guys, so just head over to vitmiller.com/high level expert to find out all about this amazing 3-day summit. It's just $1. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. 20 speakers, variety of great topics, but all to
There's
help you
name,
grow. Big
big
names.
name.
Yeah, I feel very privileged to be part of that speaker list. So,
You and me
um,
both.
yeah. On that note, let's wrap it up, mate. Is anything else you wanted to, like, on an ending note?
I mean, just another part of the offer as a bonus on a bonus is we recruit people who speak in countries where English is their first language. When you use Octotasker, you're not going to have to worry about language barriers, cultural barriers. We go after people who speak English as their first language, who are experts and good long-term cultural fits.
I love it. I love it. It's really important to highlight unique selling point, and that is definitely one. So, guys, Daniel, thank you for being on today's episode. You've shared, you've dropped some value bombs. I don't like to steal that away. I know it's part of EO Fire, John Lee Dumas, but I like that quote. You dropped some serious value bombs today. So thank you for that, mate. And
Thank you for having.
yeah, mate, it's been a pleasure. And guys, thank you as well for listening. If you stayed all the way to the end, that means you've probably enjoyed it, which is great. And so thank you for listening. If you did enjoy it, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS with high level, please go to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you and have a great rest of your day, everybody.